couple days ago, I announced to everybody that over the next few weeks, I was going to be talking a lot and sharing a lot of resources to help people publish a best-selling book. And this really comes from a few months ago. We did a big survey to our community, which is a lot of people. We have over 2.5 million members of the LinkedIn group, social media marketing group on LinkedIn, over 200,000 on my LinkedIn newsletter, like 88,000 subscribers and followers on Substack. And so anyways, a lot of people took the survey. And one of the big things that we heard was people who want to learn about how I have been so successful publishing books. There's some people out there that are like, more notable authors than I am and such. You can find like, Simon Sinek or Malcolm Gladwell, et cetera. So, I'm not trying to say I've got it all figured out, but we did some pretty cool things that a lot of people really don't understand, like the secret to selling thousands of books. Years later, since I published my first book, I'm still getting checks from Amazon on a regular basis from it. We were on the Wall Street Journal bestseller list, and there's a specific process for achieving that I'm going to be talking about over the next couple of weeks as well. We're going to really just be kind of, helping everybody that is interested with some trainings and resources that are going to kind of walk you through the process of really quickly getting your book up and running. And it's really important because it's not just about book sales and checks from Amazon. I've mentioned this in some of the messages over the last couple of days, that really most of our clients are really interested in getting their book out because they want to use it as a marketing and selling tool, which a book it really is like the ultimate selling tool. Because when you're talking with prospects and you're sending them a copy of your book as part of the sales process, it elevates you far above and beyond your competitors and any other people that they're speaking with. A lot of times when you have a book and people see you as the expert because you have that book, and they won't even talk to anybody else, right? I've had countless numbers of people approach me wanting to talk about our services, hire us, just because the books are out there. And a lot of people, as you know, don't even read the books, right? So it's just such a powerful marketing tool. I have never taught these strategies before. And so over the last couple of weeks, what we've been doing to really just try and, kind of fulfill this need that a lot of people seem to have, is to really put together some great stuff that we're going to be sharing with everyone over the next couple of weeks. And the first one we're going to share today live on Mostly Business Show, which by the way, probably the greatest business show that exists. There might be some authors. There might be some authors who have sold more books than me. And there are, we know that, but there are no business shows greater than the Mostly Business Show.
Facts.
That we can say definitively. Yeah. That is a fact. It's now been confirmed by all three of us. And so
we actually keep our numbers private just so people don't, people don't get embarrassed.
So over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing a few things. The first thing we're going to be sharing is a brand new guide that I've put together with some ideas on how to come up with a title for your book. The next thing is going to be, I'm going to be sharing some of my thoughts on how to create an outline and the chapters for your book. And these are kind of some of the first steps that can kind of really get the ideas moving, get the ball rolling, and get the starting point in place. And then from there, we're going to be talking about some ways to then go about actually creating your book. And I've talked about this a couple times, but the game's really changed since I wrote my book. Now there are some ways, if you have the right resources, and I'm not talking about money, but if you kind of know the right strategies, there are ways now to get your book created very quickly and without a lot of money. That these things didn't exist back when I was writing my books. And so we're going to be sharing some of those things with you. I wish I had them when I was getting started. So that's all coming up over the next couple of weeks, but this is going to be pretty exciting. And let me talk real quick about the old way. first, and a little bit about my story for anybody who hasn't heard it. But when I because I'm such a believer in the power of having a book to grow your business, as I was growing my company, Linked Selling, years and years ago, I knew that if I could create a book, that it would just be a great selling tool and help elevate our business if it was really done right. And so I went and I sat in the coffee shop and I started coming up with ideas and just taking some time away from the business, just go sit down in a quiet, different place. I'm a big believer in that. And just think through, what's this book going to be about? Coming up with some ideas for the title, coming up with kind of an outline of what would be in the book. Had a couple more meetings with myself at the coffee shop, and started actually then writing the entire, I don't know if you would call it a manuscript, but writing the book, writing the actual chapters and everything, and spent a lot of hours on it. I don't even know how many hours I spent at the coffee shop, starting to write this book. 15, 20. It was a pretty significant amount of time. And I got about halfway through it. I've seen somewhere that a book, like you need like somewhere in the neighborhood of 5,000 words per chapter for it to kind of feel like a real book. And that's what's like, I guess, typical. And so if you think about that, like, I don't know how many chapters your book's going to be, but if it's 10, maybe, let's say that's 50,000 words. It's a significant amount of copy to write. I got about halfway done and then kind of just lost momentum. Other things in my business popped up and kind of pulled me away from it. And I really just didn't get any further than that. But because I knew that, like, I can't just quit on this, because this is like this needs to be kind of a cornerstone of the marketing of my business. I knew I needed to just get some help to finish it. And so I went out and I got one of those companies that like helps people write their books. And they had a writer that they brought in to work with me to get all the rest of the writing done. And then they gave me, they did the design work on it and kind of showed me how to get it set up in Amazon and showed me how to get copies printed and gave me some marketing tips and stuff. But I had to do all the marketing myself. They didn't actually market it in any way. But that process took another few months. And I think all in, it was probably close to $20,000 of money spent getting to that point. And
wow,
it was certainly worth it to me, because the results we got from it were really, really great. And I've talked about that already in terms of the number of sales, the Wall Street Journal bestseller list. We probably, it's hard to say, but probably hundreds of clients that my businesses got over the years from people who read the book and such. And so totally worth it. But now looking back on it, now I'm like, oh, well, in such a short amount of time, now there are ways to, like, you don't have to spend that much time. You don't have to spend that much money. There's a lot better ways to do it. And it's kind of one of those things, like, sometimes you have to go through it to figure it out. But I've already done it. And so I'm going to share with you better ways to do it moving forward, so that you can, get really, really great results from it, but not have to go through so much of the struggle like I did to get the book out there into the world. And there's so many ways that you can use a book to grow and market your business. And I think everybody pretty much understands, like, that having a book is a critical component of growing your business. And so we all get that. And so we're going to be talking a lot about this stuff over the next couple of weeks. Keep an eye out for that. I had somebody message me on LinkedIn who probably heard about what we're doing in, like, our LinkedIn group. And they're like, what's the best way to stay up to date on this? And I said, sign up for my Substack, and sent her a link. So Ryan, if you could throw that link up on the screen for everybody, it's jtblueprint.substack.com. And just as a free subscriber, you can certainly welcome to pay if you'd like to get access to some of our private trainings that we do as well. But as a free subscriber to that newsletter, you'll get all the messages to stay up to date on everything we're doing. The first thing we're doing, and I want to give everyone a sneak peek today. Ryan, if you could get ready the PDF that you helped me design. For everyone who's here on the show today, I haven't released this to anybody at all, but I want to just share with you a little bit about our brand new guide that is going to be sent to everybody tomorrow. So you won't have a link to this yet, unless Ryan wants to drop one in the chat it's up on the. I don't know if there's a way to do it, or just wait till tomorrow and we'll send it to you. But this is the next thing coming from us on how to create a powerful title for your next book, which I think is a logical first step. And so this is not a book in and of itself. I would call this a guide. It's 7 or 8 pages. I talk about the importance of creating a title, some different ways that you can go about creating titles, and then give you some different prompts to kind of work through in workbook fashion, coming up with a title for your own book. So I really like this as a first step, because I think when you come up with a title that you're excited about and you can like kind of visualize it in a sense, that will get you kind of excited to move forward with this. And it's a fun exercise to go through. Sure. I think it's a fun thing to work on. And so we're excited to share this with everybody tomorrow. And let's skip to, I don't know, Ryan, find something in there that you think would be valuable to show people for today. Like there's a little formula for creating a subtitle that might be worth talking about.
That, Josh, with a list of chapters, if you will. That's something I was thinking about doing myself. Do you recommend doing that too?
Yeah, first step is creating the title. And then in a couple of days, I'm going to be sharing with everybody some of my ideas for creating an outline list of chapters and such. So make sure you sign up for the Substack to get that in a couple of days. But yeah, definitely. So cool. As you can see here, we've got some ideas for coming up with a subtitle, which is important. As you know, my book was called Connect, and the subtitle is The Secret LinkedIn Playbook to Generate Leads, Build Relationships, and Dramatically Increase Your Sales. And so there's a lot there, but those are some of the benefits that I really wanted to make sure were included in it. And I scroll down a little bit, Ryan, and you'll see this formula that's in there. I think it's a little further down. No, maybe I'm missing it. Where is it? Where's that little formula?
The title formula.
There it is. There it is, right there. So this can be used for either the title of the book, or sometimes it could be the subtitle, right? So like if in my case, the name of my book was Connect. And so I would use this formula here, like outcome secrets of the top target market. You see that part that's got the different colors on it there? That could also be used as a subtitle, but it could be the title of your book as well. It just depends on if you want to come up with kind of like a clever 1 or 2 word title for your book and then have a longer subtitle like I did in my case. Or you can just use this formula for the title itself. But all this stuff's in the guide that we're going to be sending you. And so it'll just kind of help you work through some ideas. And hopefully it'll kind of spark one that you'll find really exciting. It'll give you some momentum to create your book. And if you've already had it, maybe you already have a book that's worked well for you. Maybe it's been a while. Maybe it's time to create a new one. Maybe there's a new angle or a new topic that you can explore in your new book. So with that, stay tuned for everything else we've got coming up over the next couple of weeks. And Ryan, Tim, anything else you guys want to add?
Yeah.
Move along.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, I was going to say, aside from, there's a lot of reasons to having a book itself is valuable that Josh mentioned. But as somebody who didn't write the book, but was in charge of the marketing department for the company Josh's companies, when he wrote these books, all of his books, there's like a ton of like ancillary value aside from just having the book. Anytime we brought on like freelancers or like new copywriters or new people on our team that needed to know more about our business, they were able to read this book and get a really good, and aside from getting like a good view of like how Josh writes and how we want to position things and the strategies that we do. But it gives a bunch of stories about Josh itself, and all the information you need for a bio. It's all the stuff that you'd have in a book is a lot more than just the content of it. And it ties it in really well with what we were talking about with like this flagship content. We're not in that stuff that I'm doing in the course that we were talking about earlier. We're not talking about writing a book, but it's the same idea, right? Like if you do write a book, you can take content from that book, turn it into 50 other things very easily and use it. The books that we wrote, I can't remember exactly how many I wrote, but we wrote at least, that Josh wrote at least 3, I think, for marketing. We were able to use material from that for years, and be able, it probably turned into hundreds, if not thousands of different pieces of content that we used to grow the business. So aside from like direct business that we got from the book, because as Josh mentioned, not everyone's going to read it. Part of it's an authority thing, is seeing that you have written a book, and that it is listed on places like Amazon or you can buy it, and is important, but also like knowing that not everyone's going to actually read the book. Then you can create tons of content on the same topic that they will consume around that. So like if somebody gets the book and it's like they don't actually read it all, or they don't start reading it, because that book readers are notorious for just collecting books. But you're posting about it on social media. You have blog posts that have a lot of the content in it that's reformatted in a different way. There's a lot of use for it. So the book itself is the main piece. Like it's the centerpiece. Of course, that's what you need to start with. But it's not, if you're like, well, how much will one book do for me? Well, aside from the authority and the leads and the sales and everything that can come from owning a book, from writing a book that people enjoy and gives out great value, gives out good insights and has good tips in it, whatever the book is going to be about, you're going to be able to use that for a long time. Like getting, like on the low end, like 100, 150 pages or like high end, like a couple hundred pages of content out of your head onto paper or digital paper, like is a huge win. And it takes a big burden off of, anybody who's a subject matter expert in the company, because if you have a team, your team can then use that in other ways. There's a lot of value there. So that's addition to what Josh is talking about. But that's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, I remember being really happy to have these assets.
Yeah, there's so many benefits to doing it, for sure.
I'll tell you, being involved a little bit with the marketing, just a little bit in your last company, Josh, the number of people that asked me for the link to your book, I mean, it's, high double digits, or if you will. People were always asking for the book after the coaching calls that I had. So that was kind of cool. And then a question for you, buddy, is the benefits. Is that actually in the book? Or is that just make sure you're describing the benefits in your book? Just out of curiosity, where do you put the benefits, or do you?
Well, it depends. I mean, how you want to do it. If you think about the title of my book, Connect, in the subtitle, I tell people what they're going to get out of this LinkedIn playbook. It's going to get them leads, relationships, more sales.
So there's the benefit.
Those are the key benefits that I wanted to work into the title, so that it's not just, because if it was just Connect, the secret LinkedIn playbook, it's like, well, okay, do people want a secret LinkedIn playbook? I mean, maybe if they happen to be in the market for figuring out how to use LinkedIn better, but most of the time, no. What they want is the results that it's going to help them achieve. So it's important to highlight that. And then also in this case, it's like, this isn't about getting a new job, right? It's like, this is a LinkedIn playbook for business leads and relationships and sales, as opposed to kind of the other side of LinkedIn, which is more about like recruiting, getting a new job, all that kind of stuff, which we don't do, right? But and there's so many more benefits that you'll have in your book, of like the benefits that people get from working with you. You can't work them all into your title or subtitle, of course. You might decide not to put any in there, but I think for most people, you will work something of that nature into your title or subtitle. So keep an eye out for everything we're doing with helping you publish a new book over the next couple of weeks.